And we welcome you to yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. We are coming to you live from Quaker Steak and Lube because that's what we do on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. And really no other place to start today, Goon, than the tremendous pride and the love, the affection, the adoration that belongs to none other than Joey Chestnut. Goon, they said it couldn't be done. They're not doing it in China. They're not doing it in Canada. They're not doing it in Mexico. Nowhere else but here in the U.S. of A. is a human being downing 76 hot dogs in just 10 minutes, Goon. USA. Come on. The pride, baby.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? I just think about it.
It is unbelievable. I mean, it is truly beyond belief. If I didn't see it with my own two eyes, I wouldn't believe that it is possible. I'm not sure, truthfully, until this thing started taking off, I'm not sure I would have believed much more than about 20 hot dogs would be able to be consumed in 10 minutes. For those of you that don't appreciate just how astounding a feat this is,
10 minutes.
Try sometime. Save yourself up, whatever you think is the best method. There's all kinds of methods out there. And see how many hot dogs you can down in 10 minutes. And that's, mind you, with bun.
There's a lot of ways the show could have started off today.
The only place you
Joey
could start.
Chestnut
Come on,
thing.
man. 76.
Oh, my. That's 7
It's
point,
unreal.
7.5 hot dogs a minute. That's more than one every 10 seconds.
I mean, what else has happened in the world of sports?
I don't think I can do 7.5 in 10 minutes.
I'm telling you, what else? I mean, listen, what the 1980 Olympic hockey team, truly amazing stuff, but not 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Amazing.
Oh, Lord.
I'm telling you, go try it sometime. I don't think, I think 10, if I'm lucky, if I'm dreaming big, 10 hot dogs, maybe.
You can eat 10 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm thinking that's that would be my ultimate goal, right?
Holy
like
hell.
that would be an amazing feat for yours truly. This is more than 7.5 times that. I mean, it is truly one of the most astounding, regardless of how grotesque you think it is, regardless of how asinine, all of that, it is still up there with one of the most incredible things I will see in my lifetime.
And he keeps
I
raising
was
the bar,
just
right?
born when man walked on the moon, right?
I
mean that's up there as a human achievement. But you can see over the course of time how we've advanced and made, technological discoveries, and you can see how that ultimately could come about. I'm telling you, 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes is one of the most truly unreal feats by a single human being.
What is the max? I mean, what do you think?
In history. I think that's it.
You think that's it?
I thought 70 was, though, truthfully. And then I thought 72. But, I mean, 76 hot dogs.
You think he'll try to get 80?
Dare we dream 80?
He
Even
hits 80
think about
and just
80 hot dogs in 10 minutes?
Drops the microphone and just walks off the set and says, "I'm retired." No one can beat that.
Well, I'm just telling you, it is astounding stuff. Congratulations, hats off to you, Joey Chestnut. It is. It is. You know what I couldn't do?
I couldn't do the roll in the water.
Yeah,
and they dip, and then it goes down. It's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a little.
You better be mentally prepared to show up there if you're going to rock that stuff. Holy hell! 76 hot dogs, buddy.
Beaming with American pride.
Yes.
Am I over Joey Chestnut's achievement?
My Lord. You can't get any higher. I'm sorry.
I don't think you can. I mean, 80, I guess, would be the ultimate dream. But the thing is, that's the other thing. What the next closest, right, is like 50-something. Like, I mean, he has set the bar and then some. This is like somebody running a 3-minute mile.
There's a There's a lot of ways this show could have started today. I'm stunned. We're talking Joey Chestnut. It's great.
Of all of the things you've seen over the last week, forget that. Of all the things you've seen in your lifetime, Goon. Wait, as far as just astounding, wait, that can't really have just happened. That is up there. I'm sorry, it is up there.
While we're on the all you can eat tonight at the Lube.
Yes, sir.
$19.99 all you can eat from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. here at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Try to get 76 wings down.
No. I can't believe I just, oh my goodness.
And I'm not even setting a time limit on it. I'm not saying 10 minutes. I'm saying try to get 76 wings down.
Wow. I mean, I saw it. I watched it and all that stuff. And I had 76 beers the other day.
There you go.
But that wasn't in the 10-minute period. I mean, could have got a lot more. I mean, but
no,
yes, it's alarming, stunning at the same time.
Several directions we can go. One of the things I do want to talk a little bit about is Penn State recruiting, and I would say that was a pretty good weekend.
That's where I thought we were going
for the Nittany Lions on this Independence Day weekend. 5 recruits, and all were top targets of Penn State. I think I saw Penn State's ranking, depending on who you're reading, second or third right now in terms of the recruiting class coming in here for 2022. So, we've been talking quite a bit on this show about the importance of 2021 on the recruiting front because last year, really the last 2 years, and again, it's all relative, not like they were disastrous classes, yes, but not, if your goal is to win national titles, not the yes, type of classes that you would expect based on rankings. And again, all of that with a grain of salt. But, and obviously last year's 0-5 start, combined to make this, again, an important year, both on the field and on the recruiting front. And, we'll still wait to see how the on the field turns out, but certainly the recruiting front seems to be in excellent shape right now.
Have they finished higher than 3 before? I don't think he's ever had a top class, correct?
No.
He's never been 2 or 3, but maybe 3 or 4.
I think he had
5 is as high as he's been.
Class.
So, okay.
Yeah, I think he had a top 5 class coming off of the Big Ten championship.
I got you.
But anyway, so they're off to a terrific start. It's interesting. I've been running into people, as you were wont to do when you can actually get out and and visit again. And one of the big topics is obviously the upcoming season and the offensive line concerns, whether or not Penn State can get back to being a dominating or at least a strong offensive line factory. And I will say the JUCO kid that they're getting from Lackawanna sounds like that is a big step in the right direction here. They obviously have a couple of kids that are in the fold as well. And I think, I think the expectation for this season is that it should be a solid unit, right? I mean, it should be not a weakness for this 2021 team. And listen, if they're going to get through September in good shape, it better not be a weekness, right? You're not taking on Wisconsin and Auburn with subpar offensive line play and coming through that, for that matter, Ball State and coming through that unscathed.
How many years have we talked about this straight now?
Yeah,
that being the biggest concern, and
a couple decades.
Yeah, I mean it's I think since the 2008 team was the last to have a real good dominant offensive line, and it's just a couple guys and this and that, and then I think the change of offense will help us a little bit too. I think so too. New change of offensive line coach, our new OC. I think our guys are a little bit more comfortable going out there. And as you say, I've told you a million times, about 95% of offensive line play is about confidence and this and that. If you know you can play, you know where you're going, and you know what you're supposed to do, it makes the game a lot easier. It really does, because you feel confident in what you could do. And
well, I'll add to that also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's knowing what you're doing and having total faith that the guys next to you are going to be doing what they're supposed to be doing too, right? Because it can mess with your head no matter how good you are if the guy next to you is consistently missing assignments, right? You start to understandably and maybe even rightfully so, you start to, man, I got to make sure, because if this backside isn't being taken care of, I need to help out there. Well, then, and that's where, again, the disasters start, because you can't be picking up other people's assignment. But again, part of that is having trust and faith that, at least a lot more often than not, the assignments are being carried out by everybody else.
And then you don't want somebody who's trying to do too much, because they're not going to be doing their job.
Right.
And that's just when the problems start. And, there's definitely has been issues with that over the few years. One is you see a lot of guys get rotated in and out. So it's like, are you really bonding together with all those guys if you're rotating new starter here, new starter there, trying this guy out here and this and that? I guess you're trying to, shuffle up the deck and this and to find your right five. But, and again, 2020 never happened. So, we're going to see how these guys are working together. They had a spring together. They'll have a summer to work together, a summer camp to work together. And they're going right into the pit of hell, man. That's the third, fourth game is an absolute, in your opinion, and we'll ask Booch over here, is this probably one of the top opening games in the last 25, 30 years for Penn State? I mean, it has to be.
Oh, yeah, it's for sure one of them. I would argue, I guess it depends. You can look at it a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
I would put it at the top simply because it is a conference game, even though it's not in the division, and that is significant because, again, in terms of ultimately getting to the playoffs and getting to the Big Ten championship game, right? Yes. It is close to meaningless in that regard, but. To me, the fact that it's a conference game, the fact that you're coming off the 4 and 5 season, regardless of circumstances,
yes,
and the fact that you have, again, a very dangerous Ball State team, and then Auburn in the succeeding weeks. To me, this game is. I'll put it this way: I think it is as big of a opening game as Penn State has had in my lifetime in terms of
I have a number in my head
of both importance and certainly in terms of excitement and fanfare. Again, just because of the circumstances of last year, no matter if it was an opening game against Toledo, because everybody knows you get an easy win against Toledo, you still would be hyped for this game because it's the return of fans watching your team. And again, even on the road.
Somewhere Justin Kirpakis' ears are ringing right now by you saying Holy Toledo.
Yeah, the fact that it is at Wisconsin too, with that stadium and its reputation and Wisconsin's consistency, for being
and that's not
very good to great.
I said it last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a huge recruiting thing.
They're
coming into Philadelphia, they're coming into Pennsylvania and New Jersey and taking a lot of people out of here right now. And Penn State's got to put an end to that. Has to put an end to that. So the only thing the game I'm thinking of, 98 Arizona. Remember that? 99? Was that 99?
Yeah.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Yes, so 99. That was the way to kick off the season. 98, 97 was okay.
You remember how that team just soared to the finish line then.
Oh, man.
They
got through that Arizona team.
That big win over.
But that was the opening. That was a huge. I don't remember a bigger opening game to kick a season off. You can get into when I was playing the year before us, with those old kickoff classes versus USC, because that was back in the day when you had that one loss on you. You were pretty much out of the national title contention, and the opening game against a top 10 team, and
Although even in those days, I will say, truthfully, if you are smart about it, and I get why teams want to get a couple of games under their belt before
Sure.
the big games, right? Like you want to kind of figure out, all right, this is who we are, this is what we feel confident in, all of that. But that being said, even back in your days, Goon, if you were going to lose a game, right, lose
Early.
that first one and lose to a big name team, right? I mean, a team that you're at least projecting to be a top 10 team, because that is your surest road to recovery, right? I mean, if you go 11-1 and you're only lost, well, yeah, it was week 1 against a really good USC team, but look how we've improved since then.
I agree.
You know, that's how you can make the argument, even in those days, that, yeah, no, we still deserve to be in title contention. You know, now, again, if Penn State, you know, if you were to select a loss on the season, not that you want to lose any game, but I mean, that would be it, right? Well, yeah, at Wisconsin in the first game, but then we bounced back, beat a veteran Ball State team, beat back, you know, came back, beat Auburn, handled Ohio State and Michigan. Again, if you're going to pick the one, if you go in saying, "Yep, you will definitely have one loss," let that be it. Let a close loss
on the
at
road,
Wisconsin in the opening
conference game on the road.
Not,
you know,
not exactly a devastating loss. Truth be told,
I can get behind that 1,000,000%, brother. But you know, I go back to it. What an important game this is, and I know we'll talk about the Sutherland situation. I mean, because there's a guy right there who's probably going to miss that game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I mean, we'll talk about his situation, I'm sure, when more stuff comes out. But you know, there's a guy right there. You're losing one of your special teams gurus, a hot shot, captain. Well, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be suspended, but I mean, I can't imagine him not being suspended after what he did this past weekend with discharging a firearm, or being charged with it. Excuse me.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's a tough opening game, and you're going to add that into it. And that's the way I always say. A lot of the people at Penn State historically, you wanted to get that little. I don't know why. What is the reasoning behind a conference game opening weekend?
I don't know if it's just trying to
Fox thing.
Get yeah, it could be. I really don't know. I don't know if it's just trying to spread out the importance of those games and get some bigger marquee matchups out of the gate.
So is all the Big Ten playing? Do you know, Chris? Is it all the Big Ten playing that open weekend, or just us? Us and Wisconsin.
There are
50-50. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say there are some other Big Ten games,
which is good because I like this. It's almost like a interconference, like the Big Ten plays the ACC in basketball every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that interconference. Like, okay, these guys are going to play, and again, it might be a made-for-TV thing. With we're going to be on Fox national television. That will be the marquee matchup of that time for sure, possibly the whole day. So, it's a great opportunity for us to go out there, and this is how you kick the season off. And James wants to do that after last year. Again, we're saying it didn't happen.
I
but
think everybody associated with the program wants to do that, right?
In his mind, it's we got to get back on track, and they've had a great offseason. They really have had a very, very good offseason. And again, if we just wash away 2020 like it didn't happen, and I hope that is the the mindset of the team and the staff and the whole program, because I think it is. Yeah. Is what better way to kick up the brand new season off in grand fashion. And again, I do go back. This is a huge, huge recruiting game. They have 2 top 5 Pennsylvania players on their roster next year from this last recruiting class. I mean, it's an absolute legacy. Yeah,
that's. I mean, that. I'm with you.
It is a huge game. You gotta, somebody's going to come into your backyard and start taking your crops, and your best garden, foods and stuff like that. You've got to kick them out of there. You can't let them come in here and put their foothold and put their foot in the ground and make a stand, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to keep coming in here more and more and take more and more of our players out of the state of Pennsylvania. We can't be having that. Can't. I mean, we already lose enough to Ohio State and Michigan that we can't have another team coming in here and dominating the state over us. So huge, huge, huge recruiting ramifications in that game. Absolutely enormous.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. And again, like with any situation, I mean, it's all kind of how you view it. I think, you as a Penn State player and coach just have to view it as a tremendous opportunity, right? Like, because there really isn't. Again, while I do think it is as big of an opening game as I can remember for Penn State. Again, I will stand by my comment that if Penn State loses that game, it is not in any way devastating. It does obviously put more pressure on then for the remainder of the season. So in that regard, again, depending on how you want to look at it, I mean, it because then there really is very little margin for error the remainder of the way if your goal is to win a national title.
We sit there and say that, things are so different now with the recruiting and the bowl games and how this and that and playoff. But what you just said 5 minutes ago is if you're going to lose a game, you lose it early in the year.
Yeah.
And it's not in our conference.
And on the road to
another top 10
team.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'm not sitting there saying they're going to go out there and lose this game. No, because they have to go out there with a mindset like we have to win this game. Almost a must-win situation. And I think that's what they're going to do. I mean, I don't know. Knowing James a little closer than most people, and I just think that he has this, like, he doesn't want to put it out there, but I know he's telling these kids how important this game is to them because, James understands the importance of recruiting.
Well, and to that end, there's a couple of things that I do think Penn State has going in its favor going into this game. One is that because it is Wisconsin, right, there is no chance that these kids don't have their full attention on the opener, which, I mean, every year you talk about that, and I suspect most of the kids every year are pretty well dialed in on that opener. But if your third or fourth game of the season is a marquee matchup, there has to be a little part of you if you're opening against a team that everybody, that you're a 35-point favorite against. I think it's very hard to not have at least a small part of you just looking slightly ahead to, okay, yep, we definitely need to take care of business here. I'm dialed in, but man, I can hardly wait for week 3. Well, there's none of that with this, right? I mean, these guys are completely dialed in now and have been probably since the end of last season. And listen, I also think not that you ever want an 0-5 start or the worst start in school history to be part of your legacy, but I do think because that was the case, that is the case for these kids, right? Again, there is no chance in my mind that anybody on this roster is doing anything other than busting their tail to try to make sure they are ready for the upcoming season. That is going to be the 0-5 start, regardless of the circumstances and everything else. And listen, I think that those are all the fact that it was COVID and all of that, I do think is extremely relevant and will go in my notations of last season. That being said, it's still the only time in Penn State history that there's been an 0-5 team. Well, if you're part of that team and you are the athletes that these guys are and you have, a modicum of pride, right? You want to bounce back and prove that, yeah, that was just a fluke. And by God, I'm going to show you this year what we really are and who I really am as an individual. And so, I do think it plays in Penn State's favor that they're coming off the season they did. I think it also helps that they had the finish that they did, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean, so you do have some momentum going into the offseason workouts and some reason to feel good about yourself going into the upcoming season.
Sure.
And listen, I think at a lot of key spots, Sutherland notwithstanding, a lot of key spots, they have a lot of significant experience. So that being on the road, I think it is really important that they have a quarterback who has been through it, regardless of the results.
Our team is very young, but I really believe it's a veteran team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And especially
in
some key spots.
Yeah,
like some of the quarterback most notably, but some of the positions where I think that that veteran leadership is important.
Yep.
When you're on the road against a big name team, and a team that has high expectations itself in the upcoming season.
I do want to rewind like a minute here where you said 0-5, then you come back and win your last 4 games. You get momentum going into the season. We still have never gotten an answer of why we didn't go to a bowl game. Because you want to talk about momentum and building towards next season. I mean, it wasn't like we were talking that these guys were going to be practicing for another month and not be able to see their parents. It was there 10 days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We've never gotten an answer. I don't think we have, of why we did not elect to go to a bowl game. I mean, I know that they'd been through a lot and, this and that, but, everybody else went through it too. And it was, what better way to build momentum towards this season and cover up a losing record? You know what I mean?
Yep.
We've never gotten that answer. I would like to know the answer. I don't think we ever will get the answer, but I don't know. We're talking about momentum towards the next season, building up towards the Wisconsin game. I mean, why would you not want to go in and go down and play an SEC school down in Florida or somewhere and get a good win, beat them up pretty good, build some momentum for the offseason for the next year? I don't know. I'd love to have that question answered, but I don't think we ever will.
I suspect you're right in terms of any, because again, it was a collective thing. I suspect there were a wide variety of reasons why individuals, decided on the I just soon not go side of the equation, and some of them may just have been as simple as I feel like my mind and body just need a break. I suspect there were probably some situations that were a little more serious, where there were concerns about their own health or other family members' health, and they felt, again, part of the reason I think you might not ever get an answer is I don't know that there's kind of, hey, this is just the prevailing overwhelming thought. I suspect, and again, I don't know, but I suspect there were a wide variety of reasons that entered into the individual decisions that ultimately came down, and we don't know how close that vote was.
Weird,
either, but
Jeff, I'm just sitting here.
No,
looking. No. I'm looking at like last year's and looking at the record like this past week when I was just hanging out, and I'm looking at it and I completely forgot how many teams missed games.
Yeah,
we didn't have any.
Yep.
Played every one of our games on time, on target, everything.
Yep.
Maryland played 4 games last year, right? They were 2-2 or something like that, or they didn't have. We had 9 games, and I believe they only had 4 or 5
Couldn't
or 6.
Have come down with an outbreak the week of the Penn State game.
Oh yeah, and Michigan and
jerks.
I think Michigan wants to call off the game right now. My personal opinion, but they're just. I was just looking at it, and it's like, again, I know we sit here and talk about this a lot and talk about how 2020, but I'm telling you, there's going to be books, movies, everything created about that year. Like everything that was wrong, everything that was good about it, bad, wrong with it, all that stuff was completely overblown, completely underblown type of thing. I mean,
and as I've said, it's one of those things too where I don't think I think 20 years from now you'll still have people saying on all sides of the equation, people that say nope, it was handled right here, and other people say nope, that was right. Like I don't think. Sometimes you go through a situation and then it's in retrospect, at least, there's a consensus that, you know what, that wasn't handled right. Now, we've learned from that. Next time we'll know. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty confident on this one. I think if we face those circumstances in 10 years from now, 50 years from now, I think you're going to have the same disparate views about how things should be handled. There might be some consensus here and there on a few things about how to handle it, but I'm telling you, I still talk to people. They're like, no, nothing should have ever been shut down. Like that was a mistake from day one. There are other people that are still adamant that should have been shut down longer. And so I will be curious to see, 10, 20 years from now, if there is any kind of consensus or if we're still arguing about the way we are now, which is what my gut feeling is that people are still going to be all, including the medical community. And I was just watching a thing this morning on the variant that's out there, and I'm telling you that there are people that want us to be taking that more seriously, and people that are saying that even talking about it is giving it too much credit, because the vaccine pretty much takes care of it, and
that's what they're saying.
Even without the vaccine, without the vaccine, it is so much less deadly than the original COVID. So I just think getting consensus on any of that stuff is going to be, including how to handle it from a sports front, is going to be challenging at best.
My wife said, I look forward to the day, and she's a very smart girl, much smarter than me. I married her for her intelligence, obviously. And she says, I want to look back 20 years from now and say, why did it affect some people more? Like, what was it? Like, we can't sit there and say there was not a virus. We can't sit there and say that, because her and I both had it.
Yeah,
I had a headache. She was a little more beat up than I was, and she lost her taste and her smell. So that right there, boom, that's something. There's something weird about that. Why was I affected much different than her when I should have been in? I should have been in the ER. I mean, or the ICU. I mean, I'm overweight. Whatever. But I mean, when we got it, I had a headache, and I had a headache for one day, and that was my symptoms.
Yeah,
crazy to think about, but I'm really looking forward to, how long will it be until you hear why did it affect you, me, grandma, grandpa, old people, young people? Why was it affecting different people? Just a crazy thing.
Even the vaccine, I'll just and then we're going to take.
I was more beat up from the vaccine than I was.
Well, and that's the other thing. So I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, just the checkup, and ended up getting a couple of vaccines that I didn't know I needed. I got the tetanus, and then the first of two shingles. I'll go back in 5 or 6 months, I guess, and get the
new one I'm talking about
for that. Yeah,
you're so old, Ironhead. You're so old.
About it. So I went in and we were going through the history, and I had to look up. It took me way longer than it should have to look up when. I'm like, yeah, I did get the COVID vaccine. They're like, yeah, when did you get that? I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea. So I finally found it was April 10th, and they asked then, well, what'd you get? And I said, Johnson & Johnson. Like, oh, so it knocked you out pretty good. Most people. I'm like, no, I really had no effect from it, discernible. I mean, nothing noticeable by me from it. And they're like, really? Because most people, I guess, had at least some, mild symptoms, but I guess a lot of people got zonked for a couple of days. I'm like, knock on wood here, but great. Thankfully I did not have any ill effects from it. But that's another one. Like, why are some people getting as sick for a few days as they are versus, others not getting impacted at all. And
it'll be an interesting read in a couple decades to figure out if you're right, if we even have answers, or depending on who writes the book,
Take a break here. When we come back, a few things I want to get into. We'll talk about the name, image, and likeness, and kind of how this thing is starting to evolve. I think we're just kind of starting to scratch the surface here on on how this is actually going to play out. But we'll touch on that. Also wanted to just touch on a few things from the Penn State wrestling world, and who knows what other trouble we can get into.
Tuesday.
The Lightning do appear to be on their way. The Canadiens win, notwithstanding Tampa Bay up 3-1, still in that series, and still looking like the best team in hockey, and maybe by a good bit right now. But we'll talk about that and more as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show after this.
The State College Spikes have even more fun in store for fans during the second half of the Major League Baseball Draft League season. There's 6 more fireworks shows on the schedule, 2 more Bark in the Park nights for you and your dog. Plus, Paint the Park Pink Night presented by Mount Nittany Health on July 17th, Autism Awareness Night presented by the Central PA Autism Community on July 24th, and much, much more. Make more memories with the Spikes this summer. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,
and we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Just want to touch on some wrestling news that has broken here over the course of the summer regarding Penn Staters. And I do think when you look at Dan Gable's impact on college wrestling, wrestling at large, but on college wrestling in particular, obviously as an athlete, a phenom, as a coach, truly legendary, virtually untouchable in terms of accomplishments. But the impact is still decades later rippling because of the number of coaches in the Division I ranks. And by the way, throughout the wrestling community, not just D1, but when you look at other levels and high schools and all of that. I do think when we, get another decade down the road here, you're going to see very similar types of things happening from the Cale Sanderson Penn State era of wrestling. You're seeing Vincenzo Joseph going out to Stanford, which I'm really curious to see how this Stanford program kind of evolves here under Rob Cole. I think this could be a really exciting time coming up here for Western wrestling. When you look at Arizona State and what they have been able to accomplish with their kind of established now as a top 5 type of program, I think Stanford is going to be right there in that mix as well. And we'll see. I think Fresno State has a chance to get into that mix, maybe at least a top 10, 15 type of program. I think Utah Valley has a chance to be that type of program here as well. Yeah, and they've had some really good individual success here in the last few years. So, but you look at, Vincenzo Marcall down at Penn, and listen, a lot of these guys that aren't there yet, David Taylor, I think he can do what he wants, but if coaching is what he wants to get into, he will get a premier job pretty early on in his post-Olympic career, if that's what he seeks. Again, he's obviously got a lot going on right now with the
sort of busy right now.
Center. Well, yeah, but I'm saying even above and beyond the Olympics, he's busy right now. So, but I think when you look at it, Jason Nolf has talked about it. He wants to get into coaching after his competitive career, and again, I think just his demeanor and his sense of organization, I mean, he is set up for success again in whatever he does. But if coaching is what he wants to go into, listen, Zane Rutherford would be a tremendous coach. And, you go right on down the line. There are a lot of guys, Adam Lynch, who's the director of operations, would be a great coach at any level as well. Again, just the organizational skills, the goal setting and all of that. And you go right on down the line. Brian Pearsall has been working his way up the coaching ranks, and I think, again, would be a great coach. Anthony Cassar. I think the Neville's brothers, again, if that's something they want to do with their personalities and with the way they can connect with young people.
Quentin's coaching.
Quentin's coaching at Tyrone, and he's another one. Again, he could coach at any level if that's what he wanted to. Aaron Brooks is another one that personality-wise I just think would be a great fit as a coach down the road. Roman Bravo Young's another one that just with his personality and with his drive, if that's something that he wants to do. Nick Lee. I mean, you go down the line. I'm not expecting all of these guys to get into coaching and not all of Dan Gable's guys. Obviously, you go look at the history of Iowa wrestlers and the success throughout life. It's not unlike Joe Paterno's legacy where, there are guys that got into coaching and had success, but pretty much whatever they got into that they'll be successful at. But I think a lot of these guys are just so wrestling oriented and want to give back to the sport that I do think we've already seen an impact. But I think, again, another 10 years, you're going to see all throughout the state for sure, but I think throughout the country,
now, for those of
former Penn Staters making an impact on the coaching front.
Guys who really don't listen to the show too much or have in the past and don't really understand, like Gable was like I wouldn't say a tyrant, but he was a force.
Yeah.
Where he wrestled those guys hard and they were always on edge. It just seemed like that where you were saying, and the
comparison would be Bear Bryant for me with Dan Gable. A different era. I'm not sure it necessarily would work to the same degree that it did then in this era. And like everything, man, it changes. But also, I'm not sure it wouldn't work either, because again, it's one of those things. There are all kinds of personalities, right? There are certain traits that great coaches have in common, right? You better be well organized. You better know how to communicate. And there are a bunch of different ways you can do that. Like you don't have to be the yeller or screamer. You can be a Tony Dungy and communicate very, very effectively.
I agree with you.
But, so there are traits that you have to have. But you need to be true to yourself, right? If you are, a disciplinarian and an authoritarian by nature, I mean, that's who you are. You got to be true to that. It doesn't mean you don't make any adjustments if you need to acquiesce to keep the kids that you have moving in the right direction. And I think, of all of the wonderful attributes of Cael Sanderson, I think his ability to adapt to situations and to personalities, circumstances, etc. His ability to adapt like that is, if not his chief attribute, it is certainly up there for success, because they made a shirt a few years ago now that Penn State Wrestling on the front and so what on the back, and I had some people ask, what is the so what? And what the so what was, Cael was that season, the kind of the overwhelming messages was and is, you're having problems with your girlfriend? So what? Yeah, so what? Oh, you're in a really challenging court? So what? Are you going to let that stop? Oh, you're having problems with your parents? Oh, you've had whatever. Oh, your elbow got hurt.
You're in a tough weight class. So what?
So what? Are you going to let any of that prevent you from achieving your goals? And again, the idea being it's up to you. And I'll tell you, Frank Molinaro was a great example of it, because he hurt his ankles at the NCAA's his senior year when he won. and forget now if it was, I think it was after the quarterfinal bout, and Cale said, basically that. It's like, oh, yeah, your ankle's really hurt. So what? You got 2 bouts. Are you going to suck it up and go win this thing and have a storybook finish? Or are you going to say, I have an excuse, so I didn't achieve my goal? Because 20 years from now, they're just going to remember that, no, yeah, he wasn't a national champ. Great wrestler, great kid, but, yeah, never won a national title. Or do you want to go down as the guy that, yep, I overcame an ankle injury, won the national title, and went down as a legend? And again, it's
do you think mainstream media would go along with that, Ironhead? Because if a football coach came out and said, so what? Oh, you're not maintaining the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas they're on football, basketball, the Power 5 are under a much larger microscope.
For sure.
And you can get I would love to be able to say that to a kid, or a coach would love to be able to say that to kids. I mean, but it probably was a player-driven slogan.
Well, yeah,
I doubt it was even Cale saying it, or that was his mentality. But
the mentality wasn't so much from the coaches to the wrestlers. It's what you, the wrestler, needs.
Oh, you won 4 in a row. So what? You won 5,
right? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's good or bad. Hey, I came in with 5 state titles to my name. Yeah, so what?
Yeah.
Are you going to go work and
I had as many state titles as Ironhead.
That's exactly true.
Yes,
that is
sir.
exactly
Kaboom.
right.
Absolutely.
So I do think it's going to be fun to watch these guys that do go into coaching. I think a lot of them will. A lot of them already have, and just watch the success. Yeah, Quentin getting the job at Tyrone, I think, was obviously a great hire for Tyrone. And I just think, there are guys that are just – they're just a different cut. And Quentin is one of those guys where if you have a son or a daughter who's lucky enough to be able to work with him, count your blessings, because that is a guy that gets it. Yeah, I mean, gets it on every level, understands obviously all that's involved to be great at wrestling, but has just a tremendous perspective on life and understanding of what's really important. And listen, I think, that's kind of throughout the Penn State program right now, but Quentin was kind of that first star pupil to achieve big things on the national stage for Cale Sanderson. And, I think he remains just a wonderful testament to what, hard work, humility, and tremendous talent combined can lead to.
He didn't have all the love and adulation that his teammates had, and he was still going out there and wins a national title and goes off drives off in the distance and faded black. It's great.
Yeah,
you gotta love it. And then and then I've had one time I've met him and I was like, that is a sincere, good dude right there,
Yeah.
I mean, you could just tell that he was very interested in the kids wrestling and stuff like that. And he actually he was doing clinics when he was in college for kids.
Yeah.
So, he was already, he had dreamed of that type of thing. So, good for him. It's going to be great and good for Tyrone. So I do have one. Have you figured out the television schedule for wrestling?
No.
Okay. I don't know if they even released any of that stuff.
No.
All right. I need your honest opinion.
Yep.
Is it going to go down? The Olympics?
Yes.
Damn it.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but yes, I think at this point it is going to go off.
Yeah. And how many of the Penn State Wrestling Club? Big David's the only Penn State wrestler, right?
Yes.
Okay. But there's 4 people from the Nittany Lions Wrestling Club, correct?
Yeah. 3 in the men's freestyle with Thomas Gilman and Kyle Snyder. And listen, I think, I do think the U.S. is going to have a great showing. There's all kinds of things that factor in, and obviously there's other great wrestlers. All
Funny how the Olympics bring all the weird stuff out,
the
right?
world. Yeah, you go back and look at, Kerry Collad in particular, but, Kerry McCoy, I had a couple of very questionable calls against him. You go back over the years. Politics has definitely played a more significant role than it should have in the Olympic Games. But, going in, I do think, Kyle Dake, David Taylor, Kyle Snyder, you start with those three. It's going to take something special, I think, to defeat any of those three.
They're the favorites for the golds?
In my mind, yes. And I think Gable Steveson is right there. And listen, Thomas Gilman is just I don't put anything past that dude. He's just he is one of those guys that just gets the big picture here and works his tail off on the small stuff every day to try to take care of the big stuff. So we'll see, but I do think it's going to be a very, very good showing for the U.S. men's freestyle team in Tokyo, presuming that we do have the Olympic Games as currently scheduled.
I hear you. Who was the last Penn State guy to win? Was Kerry McCoy the last Penn State guy to win?
He didn't wait to go to the Olympics.
Oh.
I'm trying to think I'm not sure if I have to go back and look. I'm not sure if Olympic gold.
I got you.
I might be blanking here, but Cherto obviously was an Olympian, and we've had some other guys compete.
Uh-huh.
But listen, going back to the national, the images and likenesses of student athletes, it has been kind of fun to see how this thing is starting to roll out and the different ways different people are reacting and taking advantage. I still think we're just scratching the surface here of how this is ultimately going to play out. It has been interesting to get some of the perspectives of older athletes, and some are happy for the kids currently, but it's like, man, if this was there when I was in school, imagine what would have happened. But it's the same type of thing, right? I mean, we had a chance to interview Chuck Bednarik a few times. Well, yeah, if we had the money involved in pro football and this was back in the 80s and early 90s, he was talking about, yeah, man, are you kidding me?
Why was his name Concrete
lifestyle.
Chuck?
So, yeah. So
he sold concrete in the offseason, so he had to have
most
an
of those guys,
season job.
Almost all of those guys were in the same boat.
Jeez,
right?
Please. Johnny Yu, I believe, sold alcohol or had a restaurant or bar of some sort. It's just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But again, like I said to you last week, I'm not the curmudgeony old fan, old ex-athlete who says this, but I do have a ton of fears, and I believe we're seeing it right now. And I mean, how many of the big boys are getting anything right now? It's just your pretty boy glamour skill players, and that's going. This is what I expected to happen.
Yeah,
and that was that not much love for the O&D lineman type of guys, and I still want to see. I still want to talk to the community, and Penn State. We are limited as to who we can have advertised for us and this and that, and Penn State is looking for the same dollars as the players. I mean, can you imagine? Penn State may not be too happy about this if they're going to lose endorsement money or sponsorship money because their athletes are getting it paid. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
We did about an hour and a half on it, I thought. But yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing. And I don't think people are going to realize that. I don't. Do you think Penn State realizes that? Like, oh my God, okay, these guys are going to go after the same athletes, or they're going to go after their athletes, but they're going after the same sponsorship and advertising money we do. And last year wasn't exactly a huge year financially for Penn State. So they really need this money coming in with sponsorships, and I don't know. We shall see. I mean, again, it's like everything else we've talked about this show. It's just, time will tell how it worked out.
Yep. And finally, we'll end the show talking a little bit about. We opened the show talking about the astonishing accomplishment of Joey Chestnut. I won't say this is quite to the same stature, but do you realize that if the Pittsburgh Pirates win tonight, Goon, It's going to be 3 games in a row that they will have won.
Pack them up.
Not back to back.
They were done.
3 in a row that they could win.
Las Vegas just took the line off the board right now. They heard Ironhead talking.
Listen,
Vegas is
Joey
now
Chestnut, 76 hot dogs. Pittsburgh Pirates winning 3 in a row. I don't know which has the longer odds, truthfully.
Or the Phillies don't blow a save.
Well,
I think they're up to 74 blown saves this year already.
That's a category
in 55 games. Unbelievable. Hey, they're still your team, though. And the Phillies are still my team.
Very reluctantly, they're my team. Very reluctantly.
But they took care of the Cubs last night, so the Phillies are going to start getting hot right now. Bang, mark it.
Pirates are not going to be hot. Bank that.
We come back Thursday, and the Buccos win. They're on a 4-game win streak.
My gosh.
I can't make the show, guys. I can't make the show. He's going down to Pittsburgh. He's back on board.
4 in a row.
Ironhead's back going to games.
That's not happening. I can't even. I mean, I truly can't wrap my head around even the prospect of 4 consecutive wins. I'm having trouble enough digesting that they actually won
back-to-back
games. What's your call?
Will they win tonight?
No.
Vegas just went crazy.
No, I am not expecting it. But I never expect the Pirates to win because I see who they are. We thank you for tuning in. Congratulations once again to the great Joey Chestnut. For the Dear Goon, I'm Ironhead. We'll talk to you again on Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe.
The State College Spikes have even more fun in store for fans during the second half of the Major League Baseball Draft League season. There's 6 more fireworks shows on the schedule, 2 more Bark in the Park nights for you and your dog. Plus, Paint the Park Pink Night presented by Mount Nittany Health on July 17th, Autism Awareness Night presented by the Central PA Autism Community on July 24th, and much, much more. Make more memories with the Spikes this summer. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,